Did you guys see that thing about the guy with the highest marks of an IQ? He's a follower of Jesus who just announced, like, highest IQ logically was led to faith in Jesus. It would not make sense if this place of faith is in the God of the universe. Our logic is going to break down. We will never understand in fullness. We're not him. He's not going to fit into the box of our logic.
Quote you gave today really spoke to me. By C.S. Lewis, when a man is getting better, he understands more and more clearly the evil is still left in him. When a man is getting worse, he understands his own badness less and less. A moderately bad man knows he is not very good. A thoroughly bad man knows he's always right. This is something that spoke to me today on the broader topic of logical faith versus spiritual faith. And I think it's easy to confuse the two. And I think that's something I've been trying to work through lately, where I have a good ability to, I would say, sway a room. I can easily convince people that my logic is the correct logic. And I think it can be easy to, if you're good at speaking and you're good at kind of breaking things down, it can be easy to look at, take me for example, like when I talk about these things, I sound great. And it's like, oh, this guy's got it all figured out. You know, like he's on the money on this stuff. But deep down inside, I think that I am in turmoil more than I'm not. Whereas to simplify it would be, you know, like the devil on one shoulder and God on the other type of ideology, right? Where when I come to, like, when I am in this turmoil, it's usually in a place of, who do I run to, right? Where it's like, I can talk about these things great and I sound good and I can recite things and somebody brings me an issue, it's easy for me to just be like, oh, think of it this way, right? This is the right way to think about it. But then when I'm making my own decisions, I'm not even doing that for myself, where it's like, an easy example, just because we're athletes, is like, we run these crazy races, and when you're on mile 28 of 35, I go to a dark place to get through these things, right? And that, you can take that to anything. If you're working a long day and you want to go home, but you know you need to stay, like, who do you run to? Who do you think about? And I think I, more often than not, go to like a dark part of me to like get through hard things, instead of running to God or Jesus or rest in my faith. And I don't know, more and more lately, I just am thinking, like you spoke a lot today about, you know, like almost like why you do things.
Yeah.
Are you doing things because of the opinions of others, right? And I think it's easy to fall back into that place of like ego, in a sense, where it's like, because I think the devil's winning for me right now, lately. And I think, and it's not because of the actions I'm doing. Like, I'm not a criminal. I'm not doing anything crazy.
Everyone make that.
But it's more of a place of, why am I doing things?
Yeah. Yep.
Where I think he's winning, where it's like, I'm doing this because I know I want to show people that I'm better than them, or I have more ability, or I want people to look at me in a certain way, right? And I think that's where he's winning, in a place of why. And I think that's where it comes down to logical faith versus spiritual faith, because logically, I believe in God, and I believe this is the right way to live, but like, it's coming from my brain, not my heart lately. And I think that's the issue that I've been having, and that's the turmoil that I've been fighting lately.
Yeah. I think I saw this week, did you guys see that thing about the guy with the highest marks of an IQ?
Mm-mm.
He put out, he's a follower of Jesus. I think he's a Korean man that just announced, like, highest IQ logically was led to faith in Jesus.
Oh.
So kind of an interesting note. But here, it would not make sense if this place of faith is in the God of the universe. Our logic is going to break down.
Mm.
we will never understand in fullness. We're not him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to fit into the box of our logic. And the beauty of that is that, because I resonate with what you're saying, and I just want you to know, like, these are circle places in life. There are times that I see and feel God moving in my life, and I feel it emotionally. I feel it like in a heart connection place. There are times that you know, it's like tears are easy and they're close, and then there are times where it feels like that it is this place of like, okay, Lord, I don't feel it today, but I know from the evidence of my life, and I know from how I've seen you, and I can't go back from that, but I don't have it's not the same deal. So I want you to know, like, those are places that we go through.
So would you say you rest on the days where the spiritual side isn't breaking through, you rest on the logic of the historicals in your life?
I don't know. I wouldn't articulate it that way. I would just say, like, if the life of God in me was solely up to me, that's a pretty fragile place.
Yeah.
I'm his. And so I'm his when I don't feel it. I'm his when I feel it. The reality is, by faith in Jesus, he said that he stepped in as my source. And so I'm no longer the source. And so I think there's a part, Mike, if we were really aware of the growth in our life, his work, we'd be obsessed with it. We're bad about that already. Like,
yeah, that's
how obsessed are we with transformation? Like, we love transformation stories. Human nature loves transformation stories. We want to see fat to skinny. We want to see ugly to attractive. Like, we're just suckers for it. We love the transformation story. But I don't believe that God has made us the same. We're not to have the same awareness in the spiritual aspect, because we'd just be obsessed with it. We'd be so concentrated and focused on ourselves. And that's not how he works through our lives. It's almost the tension. If I'm aware of the tension of, Lord, it's different. Lord, why was yesterday I'm in church and it was like I could feel your presence, and now I'm at work and I'm frustrated, and you feel far, you don't feel near like you did, and do I recognize the tension of that? Because I'm saying, if you recognize the tension should tell you you're not falling away from him. You're aware of his work. There's a sensitivity that you've never had before.
That's the hardest part, right? It's this, once you know, you can never not know.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is there's peaks and valleys to anything. And this journey that we've all been on since we started, there's been peaks, and then there's been the valleys. And then in the valleys, you almost feel like you're less than, or your faith is less than, or you're questioning things more so, versus being able to focus on, the thing that me and Mike have talked about a lot this week is, in people's lives, like, you see like the Rocky cutscene, in the Rocky movies, that's a 2-minute clip. The actual practicality of that in real life is years. It's a much longer time horizon than anybody is willing to accept. So when you're in a valley, you're in a hard point in your life, is something that, going through now, where it's like, you're like, well, God can't be here right now. Like, he can't be in because the cutscene's supposed to be like, we're obsessed with the transformation from here to here. But when you can't see our our ability as humans to focus on what's wrong and not what's right is second to none. Like, we can focus on everything that's not working, even when we're at the peak.
Yeah.
So I guess my kind of question comes down to our ability to go through hard times. And, you know, what Mike's talking about, where it's like the dirty fuel of anger and resentment, it's powerful.
Yeah.
It's super powerful.
Yeah, that is it. It's the dirty fuel, right? It's like when you're in that hard place, it's like, where do you run? And I think that's where what I'm most focused on working on right now. Whereas like you could take like I don't know if you ever heard the Mike Tyson quote on this, where he's like, when you're favored by God, you're favored by the devil too. And like, he's coming for you too. And you have to be strong on what side you stay on, because the guy that brings you to the dance is the person you go home with. So it's like, when I'm in that place and I feel myself reaching for that dirty fuel to get through things, that's what brings me the most turmoil of like, who's driving this? Is this like, why am I doing this? Who's driving this? Because if I have to reach that deep, like you can take, like, again, not to keep bringing it back to this, but take the races, for example, where it's like, I don't want to do this. You know, you're 20 miles in, I don't want to do this anymore. Instead of reaching to God, you reach for the, like, all you think about is like, everybody that's done me wrong. Somebody told me that I can't do this. Or like, you reach for that dark fuel of like 3 weeks ago, Jamie said I shouldn't do that. Or like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not, and it's like, that's like a small example, but you can take that to anything. It's like where you're getting your drive from, and what you realize is the why. And it's like, it's selfish. Like, I just want to win for me, because I want to win, because I want to be a winner. And I want people to look at me a certain way, or the opinions of others and all those things. And even if you don't think about it, it's just like a subconscious thing. You subconsciously make moves based on the opinions of others, whether you think about it or not.
Sure.
And I think that what I'm trying to fight back on is the dirty fuel of doing things. Like even you could talk business, any aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Like, are you doing this because you want to win and you'll run anybody and everything over?
Yeah.
And that's the dirty fuel.
Yeah. So I want to, like, I want to be good about this and just point people to a scripture to be able to sit in. And so Hebrews chapter 12, it tells us, actually, I'm going to grab my Bible.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me grab it so I can read it and say it right. So it talks about two places that we are to rid ourselves of. So when we come to faith, you know, the blatant stuff is usually pretty straightforward. Like
Adultery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the stuff, and even in our own lives, like not even the extreme stuff, but like right away, there's an awareness that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
And we're able to recognize what is sinful. We're able to recognize the sin of our lives. And those things are, I don't want to call them easy, because but they're so much more straightforward. And then we have like this subversive stuff. And you get into the Sermon on the Mount and you see very quickly, like, oh, like that's what he's coming after. Jesus is speaking to the motivations of our heart. So I both want to discourage and encourage. I want to discourage in the sense of going like, yeah, we can't change our own motivations. Like, only Jesus can meet us and go, you don't have to, you're not going to be fueled by dirty fuel anymore. Mm-hmm. That's his work in us. But he's also the voice that goes, you're not going to be discouraged in the middle of it. You're not going to sit here and run yourself into the ground going, I'm failing.
That's the hardest part, though, because even, and I want you to get to that verse, but like even in most of what has happened recently since coming to this like place of like focusing my attention, is my confidence has lacked more now being in this good fuel, even like a motivation. like this internal drive. It's changed completely.
Yeah.
To where there's days where I'm like, it was much easier when I would just talk smack to myself all day, or like had this like very like negative outlook, or like try to do in spite of or whatever.
Yeah.
So I want to hear what that says though.
So Hebrews 12:1 says, therefore, since we're surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses, now listen to this, witnesses to the life of faith. So the life of faith, that's what we're birthed into. Hebrews 11 is this list of heroes of faith. Some that saw God meet them in life, some that did not see God meet them until death. Like people that stood in faith as they were martyred and were these examples, and God calls them both heroes of faith. He says, Abraham that trusted me, that he and his wife, Sarah, had a baby in old age, like he's a hero of faith. And then these others that were martyred and killed and saw on stepping into eternity on the backside of their death, the reward for their faith. He's like, they're both heroes of faith. So that's the witnesses he's talking about. So Hebrews 12 goes in and says, like, that's who's run before us. That is who it's like heaven has eyes for faith. Heaven has eyes for the faith that comes out of us. And so what we're talking about right now is a place of faith for you. Like you're having to go, I don't see it or feel it the way that I thought I would see it or feel it. And so you're not wrestling with, so how am I going to respond in this? Am I going to see myself the way that God sees me? Or am I going to see myself as like I'm failing this? And again, it's this place of like, do I hold the opinion of this, or do I let him hold the opinion of it? So surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin. Especially the sin that so easily trips us up. So two things, weight, sin. I think the sin is the stuff that comes to mind pretty quick. It's the straightforward stuff. It's the places where it feels pretty blatant, like, yeah, saying that, doing that,
yeah,
treating people this way, treating myself, saying like all those things, pretty blatant. But he includes weight. And he points us to this reality is like there's weight that tries to rest on us.
It's the judgment for the judgment. It's the problem that everybody has, where it's not the action, the blatant action. I know I shouldn't be doing this. It's the shame that comes on the backside of that action. And that's the weight. And that's what creates the lack of confidence. That's what creates the lack of actually feeling the spiritual movement of God in our lives. And it literally jades us completely because you're so bogged down. This is exactly what I've gone through, where it's like you're supposed to be walking in this way. You know you are. And that awareness is the best thing that could ever happen to you, but it's also one of the hardest things about it, because when you are oblivious to it, like the C.S. Lewis quote, it's like you don't see it, any of it. You're just walking and you're like, I'm great. And like we see so many people in our lives, especially in the world of social media, where they're confident. Like confidence is a prerequisite to success. You have to believe it before anybody else can believe it. Because if you don't, the only person that's going to love you as much as you is you. Like you really, if you don't love yourself, it's going to be hard for the outside world too, in a real sense. So you have these people where they have so much confidence in themselves based on dirty fuel and all these things, and it gives them, like we're talking about during the message today, it gives them all the trumpets and the admiration and the whatever. And then I'm sitting here trying to rest my confidence in how God views me and trying to live in accordance to that, which means I have to turn the other cheek in certain instances, where I've gone back to the same point so many times where I'm like, I'm sick and tired of getting bullied. I'm sick and tired of getting picked on. I'm sick and tired of getting kicked down. Like, but yet, if I'm walking in accordance to faith, there's so many things that I want to do for my ego because I don't deserve that. I shouldn't have to do that. It's not fair for me to have to go through that. So I'm gonna take my own world
Yeah.
into my hands, and I'm gonna show them. And then God has to walk me back and go, is that what I told you to do? Is that loving? No. And then you're like, and I haven't gotten to that point. Like, I haven't gotten to that aha moment, you know what I mean? Of like, because the evidence is, like you just said with the martyrs, the evidence came after they died.
Yeah. Yep.
In heaven. It's a crazy, like.
Yeah.
It's both. It's both. It's the heroes are the ones that saw it in their life and those that didn't. But the place that we're looking and we're called to like stir in each other is that place of faith. To go like, hey, don't let it go. Let me finish it. Because this is the direction. Because it's the choice of, am I looking at me? Am I looking at my failure? So let's strip off the weight that slows us down, especially the sin that easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. I love that it says run.
Yeah.
Now walk. Like, y'all been waiting. I've been telling you for a while, like, wait, slow. Now we're getting to good stuff. All right, here. This is the life, not passivity, aggression.
Yeah.
Run the race God's called you to. That he said before it. We do this. So how do we do it? We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Initiates and perfects our faith. So what do you do when you don't feel it? What do you do when you're going, God, I'm leaning into dirty fuel. You look to Jesus. Like, you look to Jesus. Every single person has to be able to answer that question. What does it mean in my life to look to Jesus? Can I stop in the middle of in the cycles that I find myself? Can I stop and go like, Lord, I'm going to look to you. We look to him by his word. We look to him by stopping and making room and going, Lord, you didn't fail. You didn't fail. If anyone could have, no one could have more dirty fuel than Jesus.
Yeah.
No one.
Yeah.
He's got the sin of the whole world on him.
Yeah.
No one's got more dirty fuel available to him. But what does he do? It says, because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Like, that's it. So not dirty fuel, joy. He's going, hey, the joy is that I know everything that I'm doing results in life for you, for me. He's that's what he saw. Go ahead.
To tie all that together, because we had a meeting this week where I finally, from a business side and from a works side, because what we're talking about is running with our eyes gazed on him. And so I found this framework. It's not mine, it's Ryan Trahan's, but it's really good. The idea between exploitative work and redemptive work, and the difference between the two.
Yes.
Exploitative in the what we build is we toil for rewards. So we toil for rewards. So we are building, what we build is for the reward of what it is that was built. The how in exploitative is we strive for control. We constantly want to hold on to every aspect of it and we cannot release it. And the why we build is we win by force in exploitative work. I'm going to win no matter what. On the other side with redemptive, the what we build is we create for restoration in others. How we build is we work in the redemptive quadrant, we work with care. So we care for others no matter what.
Yeah.
And then in the why we build, we serve for the greater good. So it's this idea, especially in terms of whether it be pursuits, like anything in your life, but is this redemptive work or is this exploitative? And then it's a great framework for exactly what you're saying, because some people will hear like cast your eyes on Jesus and not understand exactly. And this is the first time that I've seen this from a perspective of, this is, if he could give a business class this would be the two common places: exploitative work versus redemptive work. So I just thought that was a powerful inclusion.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, and I think to like bring it all the way around is what's helped me is when you're in this place, right? When you're in this place of what do I do here? Like for example, I can like when Jaime's speaking to like when you're getting constantly kicked in the teeth and like people are coming after you, how do you not meet them there? It's like the importance of having somebody to rely on to like have that out with. Like Jaime called me the other day, like here's what's happening. I was ready to burn the whole world down from an ego place, like, there's no way I'm gonna let this happen. And it was the feedback of the like, hey, no matter what happens to us, we're not gonna stoop down to that level. Like you have to let it go. And being able to have a springboard to almost like hear yourself, I think has been like, I think a lot of people miss that, where it's like you're trying to make these frameworks and decisions all on your own. And it's hard to come to that place if you don't have somebody pushing back on you a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think one of the most important things when you're going through this is to have the right circle around you to continue down the right path. Because a lot of the times when you're in your own head, it's easy to dig a hole that you can't get out of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've said it a bunch. There's a separating factor of like the voices that are around us. I don't just trust my own internal monologue.
Yeah.
You can't.
No.
Because you don't know who's it's coming from.
It's so good. Well, that was a great episode.
Yeah.
If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next week.